An entitled father tried to get me kicked out of the store for having big breasts. So, the only reason why the entitled parent in this story didn't go to prison was because I was 18 at the time, but the fact that this happened the way it did still pisses me off. So, when I turned 18, I started working at a call center and often walked around the city a lot in order to avoid my toxic mother. Yes, I know what you're thinking, but I was safe and always had a form of self-defense. I was young but not stupid. Anyways, that year, I experienced another growth spurt and went from a C cup to a DD cup, and I was getting a lot of weird looks when in public. As much as I hate to say it, I was pretty young and naive, so I never thought it was because of the way my body changed, but I preferred to keep my distance from people. One day, I decided that I was going to go to Walmart so that I could pick out some yarn for a crochet project I wanted to work on while at work. We were allowed to crochet as long as we didn't avoid the calls that were automatically answered on our systems. While I was checking out the yarn, I noticed a kid, who looked like he was 13/14, standing at the end of the aisle watching me. Thanks to my history of getting bullied and beaten up, I immediately grew cautious and started debating if I wanted to get my yarn here or go to the Hobby Lobby across the parking lot. Before I could make a decision, an adult man came up and started leading the son off, so I started to relax and think that I was overreacting. That is until the entitled dad came back. Entitled dad, excuse me, but where did you get you implants? They look so real. Me, excuse me? I was really embarrassed and shocked, and I was already getting creeper vibes from this guy. Entitled dad, your implants. He waves his hands in front of my breasts and gets uncomfortably close to me. Where did you get them? Me, I was at a loss for words and didn't know if he was serious or just being a creep overall. At this moment, the kid came up and poked at my right breast, and I instinctively smacked his hand away, not caring that he was a kid. Me, excuse me, but you really shouldn't do that, especially to a woman. It's not polite, and it's considered SA and SH. Entitled dad immediately got mad at me and started screaming at me to not touch his son. He said that it was my fault and that, if I didn't want attention like this, then I should keep my fun bags put away. I was in tears and looking around for an escape, especially since, the more the entitled dad yelled at me, the closer he got to me. He started telling me that there was no way my breasts were real and that he needed to feel them to know for sure. He even told me that I needed to let the entitled son touch them so he could learn the difference between implants and real breasts. Remembering the fact that I had my pepper spray in my bag for any occasion where I needed to defend myself, I usually had a knife, too, but that seemed a bit extreme in the heat of the moment. I pulled the can of pepper spray and told them both to step back and get away from me. At this point, an employee turned the corner, having heard us yelling, and saw me holding the pepper spray. He freaked out and called for a manager before coming up and yelling at me, demanding to know what I was doing. Thanks to me being in tears, the entitled dad was able to butt in and started lying to the employee that I was seducing his son and pulled my pepper spray out when the entitled dad had tried to come to his son's rescue. The entitled sister immediately started agreeing with the entitled dad, and the employee was already saying that he was going to call the police while the entitled dad demanded that me and my big breasts get kicked out of the store. Thankfully, at that second, one of my coworkers, a big, burly guy who often gave me a ride at night after hearing that I took the taxi home at night because my mother refused to teach me to drive, rounded the corner, leading a manager right to the mess. The manager demanded that everyone shut up and calm down, and, when we had, he turned to me and asked my side of the story. I told them how the entitled dad insisted that I needed to let them feel my breasts to see if they were real and how I had already explained I wasn't comfortable and didn't want their attention. The entitled dad backtracked on his story and tried to defend himself and entitled Karen, saying it was all for educational purposes and lied that I had agreed beforehand. This is when my coworker got mad and pointed at the camera at the end of the aisle, reminding them that it would have caught everything. The entitled dad and entitled Karen both went silent for a moment before making a break for the exit. The manager took off after them, yelling at them to stop, and my coworker berated the employee for threatening me the way he did. Of course, the entitled dad and entitled Karen got away, but the employee was fired, and I never went back to that store by myself per my friend's request. Please, teach your sons to respect women and don't harass women. Plenty of us are insecure of our bodies and don't want the attention our bodies attract, and we appreciate it if you don't make things worse for us. Also, never assume that a woman's body is fake or that you are entitled to touch it. Before moving into next story, please like the video and subscribe the channel. EP gets mad I saved her kid's life and tried to press charges. I never thought I'd be posting here, but this just recently happened, week ago. I'm almost graduating high school and I have a job at the supermarket. Bagging items, stocking merchandise, etc. But I'm still shaken up and decided this place would be a good place to put my experience. This day it was pretty rainy, so there were barely any people in the store and I was fixing any products that were out of order. I was just chilling since there was barely anything to do. QEP and EK come strolling into the store and I don't pay mind to the woman because she has that "can I speak to the manager" haircut. I'm already kinda weary of this woman, so I try to mind my own business and do my job. She sees me and rolls her eyes, muttering something about lazy teenagers even though I have a job. But whatever, and she asks me rudely without a please or anything where the drinks are. I tell her which aisle and she loudly exclaims, "Excuse me, are you gonna take me there or what? Take me there now or I'll speak to the manager. This is why you get paid." I only nod and don't say anything. So I take her to where the drinks are and she doesn't say thanks or anything, only scoffs and pushes me away. So I'm fixing some stuff that fell onto the floor, not too far away, and I see EK climbing onto the ledge where the drinks are. "Excuse me. We just mopped the floor so it's slippery, and plus your son can't be climbing that. It can fall or he can get hurt." I say this as politely as possible and I don't want to get in trouble cause of some kid. You know? Applying to colleges and a record won't do me any good. She gives me a nasty glare and snaps, "Don't tell me how to raise my child. Mind your own freaking business." Her kid is still climbing the ledge part where the alcohol is, and I'm getting more anxious just looking at this kid. So while the mom is busy, I go to him and ask, "Hey, can you please get off? You can get hurt." He starts screaming for his mother and she comes running like a mad bull. She asks him if he's okay and if I hurt him, and he tells her she's not letting me play. She starts yelling at me and insulting me, calling me stupid and whatnot. She threatens me that she knows the manager and she will get me fired. She tells me to fuck off and continues to shop for wine while her kid is climbing on that ledge, and I get this bad feeling when I see him jump down hard and everything starts to shake. I run and tackle this kid to the ground to push him out of the way, then right at that moment the whole drinks fall onto the ground. There is red everywhere since it was part of the wine aisle and I see myself badly cut. The kid is crying, probably because I pushed him, and the mom comes running and she starts shrieking like a banshee. This stupid teenager tried to kill my son. And I told her that I literally saved her son's life since he could have been crushed or hurt badly by the glass. My thigh is bleeding since it got cut and she grabs my arm, digging her nails into my arm. "You are not going anywhere. I'm pressing charges and calling the police, you murderer." I think I want to cry because I'm losing blood and she has a strong grip of my arm. The police arrive and I'm literally about to be escorted as the EP watches me smugly when the manager comes running. I explain everything to him since he's known me since elementary and I'm not an evil child killer. He tells me he has everything on camera and I almost cry in relief. The EP seems to go a little pale but is still insistent on pressing charges at me and the store, demanding that I be arrested for assault of her kid. The police review everything and even an eyewitness who saw and heard everything pitches in. The manager and police said I did the right thing and say I can press charges because EP hurt my arm pretty badly. She's still fuming and now is threatening the police, so she's taken away and arrested. The kid is picked up by whom I presume is his dad, and I'm taken to the hospital to treat the glass shards in my leg. If I'm badly hurt from a few shards of glass, I can't imagine what would have happened if the kid was still there climbing. I don't think I could forgive myself if I had let him get hurt. Edit, thanks for the gold and silver, stranger. Also to those asking if I am pressing charges, yes. First, she hurt me pretty bad, her grasp left some marks and a bruise, and the manager is pressing charges too because she left over $5,000 in damages by breaking a lot of expensive alcohol. Edit 2, so a lot of people are asking how the police believed EP but not me. They weren't arresting me but escorting me elsewhere to question me since EP kept on interjecting and screaming. I basically feared the worst since there were no witnesses, I had thought, and some part of our store has a blind spot with no cameras. Luckily, there was a camera and a witness. Edit 3, wow, thanks for platinum. Edit 4, thanks for another gold wow. The manager was in his office, I believe, since it was a slow day and there wasn't a lot of people. The police was there first because EP called them and told them I assaulted her son since I pushed him out of the way and maybe he had a bruise, but he wasn't really hurt.